This seems pretty wild.
Thank goodness we got this light.
Basically because of the community through competition.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. And that leads us into what we're going to be talking about today. Coconut
fire. Can you just give her the Charmander?
No, I don't.
Why do you need a toy?
I don't want to give her my toy.
She's literally crying because she wants your toy.
Bro, keep the stuff. You have so many
And
toys.
can you hide it? It's in plain sight. This is why we never get anything done. Oh my gosh.
We'll be back after these commercial breaks. Alright, that's gonna be a fun edit. For you, because you're editing these, right?
What?
Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Roberto.
What's up, peeps? My name's Marissa.
And together we are
The Dos Cocos Locos.
And
Wow, we
welcome.
haven't said that in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So basically, if you watched any of our previous videos and or been on our Instagram and or have grabbed coffee with us previously,
Like,
tune out.
yeah.
Our whole motto, it's also actually written on our living room wall,
Yes.
también, but our whole motto has always been community over competition.
Mm-hmm.
And that just means like bringing the community together, having someone to call like when you have questions about stuff.
Yeah, like there's enough jobs for everybody out there, so you don't have to be focusing so much on fighting over the jobs. Just focus on like getting to know one and each other.
Like being able to lean on each other. And so lame. And like just being able to like have an open communication, honest communication about where we are at in our businesses and life. No longer is that our motto. We're switching it up.
Yeah.
And through a long series
Playing
of things.
the reverse card on you guys.
Yeah. And through a long series of things that have happened over the past couple of months.
Specifically during quarantine / Corona COVID time. So
Yeah.
if you watch this video later on, this is what we're referring to. But
So over these past couple of months, a lot of things have happened that have shifted our perspectives and grown our
minds.
sure. Yep. Okay, so first thing, quarantine happened. No, let me back up. Okay, first thing, someone encroached on our gifts. Second thing, some of our friends, we were just seeing them like continue to make really good stuff during this time of like just like COVID was a thing and like you couldn't really see people that
Still kinda
much.
is a thing,
It's
but-
still a thing. Still in a pandemic, apparently. We're safe, we wear masks, it's fine. And but while it was a thing, they were still like getting better at their craft.
Yeah.
Like our friend AQ, who's dope AF.
Main reason why we have this light, actually.
Main reason why we have
We
this
saw
light.
his light, we're like, yo, we need to
We're
get
like,
this light.
oh, we need that light.
But
that light.
yeah, so AQ was
But-
out there doing a lot of shoots. This one person that we follow, Eyes on My Lens, she was like killing it on the
Yeah,
YouTube
Marlo,
channel.
crushing it.
Shout out to you. But yeah, we just saw people in our community. A lot of them weren't doing a lot, but there were a select few that were. And we just want to make this video say thank you so much for continuing to go, because you guys inspired us.
Yeah.
And because like sometimes we inspire other people, but it's also nice to have other people inspire us, because it's kind of like that cycle of life kind of thing. So we definitely needed that for sure.
Yeah.
So that kind of pushed us into thinking bigger and like being like, all right, we need to like step up our game as far as like what kind of projects we want to do, and just kind of like think and dream
saying it
bigger.
out loud
Yeah.
too. So like one of the things that we started working on is documentaries. I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if we filmed a documentary? And then a documentary happened, and then we had a client who's like, it was supposed to be a photo shoot originally, and then we turned it into a documentary. Now we're working on a series. It's a whole thing. But I feel like once you say things out loud,
Yeah.
and like you make it known that that's an area that you want to start working in, you'll actually be like tapped on the shoulder to be like, yo, do you want to do this?
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
We're still in the process of that, so like that's a whole nother beast in itself. But
Oh yeah.
being able to do that, what was interesting was we had the opportunity come up and we needed like an additional person to be our PA, a production assistant. And our first person that we thought of was one of the people that was like doing stuff during the quarantine time. So AQ came to mind and we hit him up. We're like, yo, AQ, we had the opportunity to do a documentary. Are you down to do it? And he's like, sure, just let me know for sure if it's gonna happen or not. Because it was like 10 days. We're going to New York and we're gonna go out there and film.
And we literally only knew like a week before.
Yeah, so it was really quick turnaround time. But the fact that he was down to do it like speaks a lot on his character
and was available to do it. Was also helpful.
Yes. But we wouldn't have gone to him if he wasn't kind of like in the back of our minds almost. Like, hey, I'm doing work. So that's another reason why you should always be doing work.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to land a job, but you literally never know who's watching you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And people like people who are in motion.
Yeah.
Like if you're showing that you're continuously working on things, like don't just do it for the flex of it. Like if you're not actually working on anything, don't be like, I'm working on this big project. So like it helps when you're actually just trying new things.
Yeah.
Even if it's spec work, like we've talked about this before, even if it's spec work, which is work that you just do on your own dime, like no one asked you to do it. It's if you choose like a company or whatever that you want to make a product video for, just to like keep working on your skills, like that's better than doing nothing.
Yeah. So
AQ, you're the bomb. This whole video is for you.
Yeah. But seriously, so that happened, and then like I think during that time, like before going to New York or whatever, we came across this post.
Yeah.
And this is by, what was his name? David?
Josh Duke.
Josh Duke. Yeah.
Joshua Duke. He's this awesome dude that we actually had like a conversation with when we were down in Fort Myers before we quit our jobs.
Before we even quit our jobs.
He's just like an amazing human being. That I like continuously look to. He's expanded his business like tremendously. He does photo and video.
Yeah.
Mainly photo, I think, but now he's branching into video. And he made a post and it like completely wrecked us.
Destroyed us, really.
When I first saw it, I think I saw it first.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not gonna like this. This goes completely against. I'm not even gonna read it because when he does posts, they're like really long and like a paragraph, which is great, and like you get so much information from them.
Like it stirred something up in us that almost kind of, honestly, I think it kind of pissed us off.
It really did.
It pissed us off at first.
Me off at first.
And we're like, so the post was basically competition over community. And when we first read it, we read it like we would normally read it, community over competition. We're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then we looked at it again. We're like, wait a minute, he's saying something else. So like we took a second and we're like, all right, let's just hear him out. Cause like it's really easy in 2020, whatever you want to, like this life, to get offended super easily, especially when it's like a mindset that, or like an idea that kind of contradicts what you normally believe in.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And now I'm kind of like, now the way I view the ideas is like, you might have some truth in whatever idea you have, but there also might be some truth on the other side, and you should be open enough to kind of just hear it.
Maybe.
Like, okay, but for the most part,
depends on what it is.
Sometimes there's some moral standards that should just never change, obviously. But when it comes to ideas for business, there are opportunities to change and shift your mindset on how to do things. So we're like, all right, let's...
Anyway, so we finally read his post. And I was like sitting with Robert. So the first time I saw it, I just wiped away. I'm like, I'm not going to like this or read it. Yeah. And so then I showed it to you.
And I'm like, all right, let me
and I'm like, okay, let's actually read this. Basically, what it said was that it should be competition over community, and like you should always be trying to push yourself farther than everyone next to you, and you should have people around you who are better than you. Like you shouldn't be on the same level buddy with everyone, because then you can stay there really easily. And so we stayed there.
I think what triggered us the hardest when we read it was we knew that he was coming from a place of truth. Yeah. Because we experienced it also with the community that we built here in Tampa. Yeah. And that was hard to digest and hard to kind of accept as a truth. Mm-hmm. And it's really not the people's fault. It's not the community's fault at all. It honestly falls back on us. Yeah. If we are attracting people that aren't better than us, then that means that we're doing a disservice to ourselves and the people that follow us. Because if we don't constantly try to bring in, get to know more people that are doing better, then the level of creative possibilities only goes so far.
Well, not even just creative possibilities, of like leadership possibilities. Like, we're not strong leaders. We're learning to be strong leaders, but we are not strong leaders. We're also not like strong business people. We're learning to be strong business people. And so I think if we're the cap of people's like expectations of themselves, that's really scary. I think that's where like what he was talking about, how like you need to keep people ahead of you, and you need to like have people who you can lean or not lean to, but look to and be like, okay, this is where that I'm going to be there in a month, or I'm going to be there next year, or like I want to be there. I want to do what they're doing. I want to get to that level.
Because if you're always surrounded with people who think like $100 job gig, and it might mean a lot to you, but like if you have $100 job gig, that might seem like a lot of money,
or a $200,
or maybe $1,000. But then like once you start hitting like $1,000 jobs consistently, you're like, all right, maybe $1,500 isn't that crazy, or $2,000. And like I think that was kind of our mentality too. We're like, okay, like now we see jobs and we're starting to get the confidence to be like, all right, $2,000, like these larger jobs that take a lot more work, but now we're more confident because we like take the time to learn it, but we're also learning from other people that are way ahead of us.
Yeah, and we're doing like $50,000.
Yeah, and then, exactly. But then we go and work with them, and then we're like, oh, you still struggle with the same stuff too that we struggle with?
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'm on the right track.
Like, oh, this probably isn't that hard to get where you're at.
Yeah. So.
Long story short, that we read that post in like August, and July of this year was our 2-year anniversary as a business, and so I think that really struck hard because we're like, oh my gosh, we're 2 years into this business and we're still at the same place. Like, I think it actually took until being 2 years into this business to finally start making money and finally start having like systems and processes in place, which is crazy. And some people can do it a lot faster and sometimes it takes longer, but because we were learning photo and video and business at the same time, I think it took us longer, and we just didn't really have a competitor that we were looking to consistently. Yeah, so I think it helps now that we are now surrounding ourselves with people who are way like several steps in front of us, so we can look to them for as an example versus us being it for so many people. Like, we should not be it for you. Like,
and some words of advice: if you think you're it at the top,
you need to find a new circle.
You need to find a new circle, but then also just be like doing a self-reflection on yourself and be like, all right, what else can I do? Because for me, I don't know, Marissa's a little different than me. I always thought that once you get to a certain level, you're good, you're chilling. And if you're chilling, that's probably like a big red flag that you are missing out on a lot of stuff.
We say this to say it is no longer community over competition. It's community through competition. I don't want to say competition over community because that's not true. I think community should always come first. But I mean, there's different types of community too. Like, there's community that you can pour into, and then there's community that needs to pour into you so that you get better. So I think we had
a community that we were pouring into.
Or at least trying to, because we didn't have enough to pour. We're still learning. Like, we didn't have enough to pour into that community because we didn't know enough, and like we weren't strong enough, and we're learning to be stronger, which is good. But I think that's where this new phrase, this new motto, this new lifestyle, like, really just helps, because it forces you to really think about who is around me, who am I looking up to? Am I looking up to anybody? Have I just plateaued? Do I want to keep going in this? Sometimes if you don't want to keep going in it, you'll just stay at the same level for a long time and think that's it. And okay, that might be fine for some people, but it shouldn't be fine for you. Sneak peek into something that's coming. We're going to be working on some kind of accountability system that we're going to implement with some peeps. Remember we talked about this? Yeah, so it's going to be great. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be awesome. We're going to try to figure out how to like actually put this into practice and make a system and a process that we can continue and expand upon with the community that we already built.
True.
So it's going to be great. We're excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep building community through competition. Peace.
Bye.
That was good.
Yeah.